Hey everyone, it's so good to be back. I've really been, confused lately about what kind of videos to make. There's so many topics that I can touch on, so many comments that I've received, and besides all the wonderful things you guys have written to me, there's so many requests of things you guys want me to say and talk about. And unfortunately, I don't have that time or energy or, focus to answer everything that you hope to see in my coming videos. So, it's gonna take some time and you might not get your answer, but I really do hope that I can talk about as much as I can in time. But right now I have to choose the topics that I feel that I've been guided to talk about. I feel that God has inspired me. He's inspired me to talk about specific topics to begin with, and it might not be the ones that you guys had hoped for. But the two topics that I want to touch on today is just a simple response to all of the people who attack me, who personally attack me, who make false accusations, who attack the way I look. I want to talk to those people to begin with. And then I want to end this video by talking a little bit about what it was that got me to actually believe in Christ. What was it that I saw that made me accept Jesus as my Lord and my Savior? This was a process, and I want to just quickly go through the different things that I went through to get to that conclusion. I'm not going to throw out lots of links to different sites or articles and hand out different textbooks and whatnot. I'm not going to do that in this video, or overall with my channel. That's not the purpose. I already know that there is so much information online, and that I don't want to make people used to relying on someone to get them the information. That was my position. That's sort of what I had to do to get to the truth, was that I had to rely on someone else who knew better than me to do the research with me. It was sort of like walking hand in hand with a parent who makes sure that you don't get scared from watching a horror movie when you go to the movies, for instance. And that's sort of not a place you want to be in when you are a grown adult. I mean, I'm in my mid-20s. It's sort of important when you are in my age, at least, that you can do your own research and you can think for yourself and learn how to find proof and different texts and such for your research on your own. So I don't want to encourage anyone to get used to that habit, and so that's why I'm going to talk about a lot of the things that I am mentioning here based on my own research, and it's going to be based on my own experiences and opinion about what I have seen and found. And then it is your responsibility to go online or look in different books and consult with different people who've also done research to draw your own conclusion. I'm not going to do that for you. The reason why I find this channel to be important anyway, why it's so useful still to do what I'm doing, is because just a video like this could help someone in changing the way they approach Islam or Christianity. And that little change, that twist in their mind, it does so much to their understanding of their belief and of themselves and their worldview. So that is my goal. I hope to somehow influence someone with the things I talk about. And of course, I have so many supporters. I have plenty of people who comment on my channel who are, they're for the things that I speak about. They believe it in themselves, and they have their own proof and evidence for why they do so. And these people tend to help me out in the comment section. They like to write and answer people who come with different counter arguments. So feel free to discuss with them in the meantime, if you don't get the answers from me, or if you can't find the answers on your own. And don't hesitate to ask people here or on other channels over YouTube, all over YouTube or the internet in general. Don't hesitate to ask them for sources or to discuss your point of view with them. The more you expose yourself, the more open-minded you are and open you are to kind of reevaluate everything that you have thought your whole life, no matter how difficult it is, the better. So try not to rely on someone. I never did that. I didn't rely on one source, on one person to tell me all the answers and then, oh, okay, because you said so, I will believe. That's not what I want here. I don't want you to just hear what I have to say and then I believe, you know, my research is done. No, I want you to hear what I have to say, think about it, and kind of question it. See what, you know, how is it similar to the way you think, or how is it different? And then from that, do your own research. That's sort of what I want to do. I want to be the person who pushes you in the right direction. But my goal is definitely not to sit here and throw out, you know, quotes after quotes. You kind of have to trust that I come from a, you know, a valid, that I come from a place where I've done research. I mean, why else would I put my face out here? Why else would I risk my life doing what I'm doing if I didn't really strongly believe in it? So, and by the way, you don't make a lot of money doing what I'm doing. I don't live off of this. It's not even it's not a primary income of any sort, and I don't even accept gifts or anything like that. So, you know, the David Wood gift, it was an exception to the rule. So, forget it. You know, there's nothing self-serving here other than that I want to spread the truth, and I want to talk about it. I want it to come out. People need to hear it. They need to hear it so that they can question it themselves. So yeah, that is what I hope to do with my channel. So I think I should just get straight to, I don't remember if I said anything else now in the beginning. This is a problem I've had ever since the trauma and the entire experience of emotional, psychological abuse and all of that. Ever since that happened and began, it has taken a toll on my mind in the sense that I lose my trail a lot. As you can see, you know, when I talk, I forget the things, like what was the reason I even started this discussion. So if I lose my trail, please keep that in mind, that, you know, it's from all the stress, it's from the trauma. I think if I can correctly remember this, the doctor who I met up with, he said that there's even a specific name for this. I think it's called traumatic stress. No, it's called acute stress syndrome, I think, something like that. And he said that that's, you know, that's sort of what I have. That's my diagnosis, and part of this is that it affects your memory. So to help myself with this, I've got a notebook. I've got lots of notes here. I'm not going to read straight off of it. I don't like to do things that way. Oh, look. Huh. Look. Can you see it? Do you see that? I guess I have more people. Wow, I did not expect that. I have another audience member here. Someone I didn't know was even here. How am I gonna use this now? Never mind. I'll just leave it here and hope that it sort of flies away or something. It doesn't move. It just won't move, guys. It's just it's stuck. It's like literally sitting there. Yeah, I'm just amazed. I did not expect that. Anyway, so my point was, I have these notes that I'm gonna look through as I talk, and I hope you guys can, you know, understand that I need them. Well, okay, now it's moving. Look, where's it going? I don't know, but I guess I bored it already. So, first and foremost, let me see how long I've spoken. 9:50. Okay, we're still good. First and foremost, about people who you've all seen it in the channel. you've seen it in the comment section. There's people who comment things where they accuse me of false things, or they demand an answer for certain things. And a lot of times they troll, a lot of times they just want to say mean personal things to me, just to kind of bring me down for speaking out about Islam. I want to talk about these people in particular. First and foremost, I'm not angry. I'm not angry at them. Although I sometimes show frustration in how I comment, it's more of a helplessness than anger. I feel helpless in the sense that, that feeling when you know something to be true and you try to convey it in the best way possible. You try to see if there's something wrong in the way you communicate to the person. And maybe if you say something differently or you approach it differently, maybe then they will hear you and understand you. And I have that in the back of my mind all the time, and it's something that I personally think it's from the trauma that I've experienced of having to constantly fight people verbally in arguments and discussions, that I've had to prove myself all the time. I've had to prove people wrong about me, and that this has been a constant struggle that sort of carried on. It's continued with me after this entire incident. So to this day, I still have a difficulty sort of putting this behind me, that when I see people talk in ways that remind me of how my family or my relatives or other people who were challenging me back then, how they would talk to me, and wouldn't find anything that I said to be true or valid unless I said it in a certain way or convinced them through arguments. For some reason, I brought this with me, and it's affecting my it's why I'm answering so many of them, although there's really no point and it doesn't really help you much. So that's why you've seen that I've been active with these people, but in reality it's just pure helplessness, and it's just a bad habit, and I'm hoping to kind of get rid of that a little bit now when the dust has settled. And I just want to explain to them quickly that it's very simple. Look, when you believe in something, when you think something is true, when you've done your research, or whether you've done your research or not, I mean, think about it. If you stand for something, you believe in something, you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Even though people demand it from you, even though people say that if you don't explain it, if you don't say it this way, then you're most likely wrong and we're right. Even if they do that and they pull out that card, you don't need to explain yourself. You are who you are. And you can argue for why you believe in something, and you can have a discussion, you can share your opinions. I'm not saying don't have any discussions anymore with people. I'm saying that when people act that way, where they demand something from you, and if you can't give it at that point, at that time, or if you choose not to explain something to them that they say and they totally reject the total, like, all validity of your arguments, and say, oh no, you're wrong, I'm right. If they do that, don't feel obligated to explain yourself to them. Don't. It's not your responsibility to find their truth. It's not your job. Everyone's responsible for their soul. We all have one soul that we have to work hard to help out and, guide towards the right direction. Now I'm speaking to people who believe in souls, that they exist. This is something that is our own job, and part of who we are, what we do, and what we believe in. That's, we are the people who are affected by that directly. If I choose to think that Allah is Satan and Jesus is my Lord and Savior and someone else doesn't, in no way is this a blow towards the other person. It's not it can't be some kind of weapon used against someone else, because I am taking on that belief system. I'm going to be the one who bears the consequences of this. I'm going to be the one who has to answer to this on the day of judgment. So let's face it, nobody owes anyone an explanation about who they are, what they choose to believe in. And if you choose to not talk to these people and confront them about it, if you feel it's not worth it, it doesn't mean you are wrong. It doesn't mean that they are right. And regardless of how they will feel, let's say they are offended by this, let's say you've hurt their feelings in what you believe in and what you stand up for, that's not your problem, that's not your responsibility. You can't control how they feel about you, about what you believe in. You can't control that. If you choose a path in life that is directly affecting your life and it's about your well-being and it's not directly harming anyone, how is it your responsibility if they're hurt? If they get, you know, their feelings hurt, if they feel offended by this, you don't have to console them, you don't have to comfort them. That's not your job. They have to comfort themselves. They have to find answers for that themselves. It's not your job. Please keep that in mind. So they have their own worldview, and you have your own worldview, and you can argue for why your worldview is true, and they can choose to listen or not and argue for theirs. But how you explain yourself and how much you choose to say does not say anything about the validity of that, you know, the credibility of what you believe in. That's something I want to really highlight here. So, something else here about this. They have an understanding, right, of their world, of who they are, of who everyone else is, and why things are the way they are. And you have your own understanding. Some people, such as Muslims, some people who follow Islam, some of them, I think a lot of them actually, they, because of the Islamic value system, because you have to understand part of its morals and values is that you're not to question your faith. There's huge consequences to, you know, doubting in your faith, leaving your faith. There's real punishments for that. Coming from that place, having that background, you have to understand that a lot of them might not be able to hear or see or understand that which you talk about, because they are so fixed in their worldview. They are afraid to in any way question it. And I think about these people on my channel as those people. I think they are the people I'm explaining here, because I've noticed that they're not trying to understand me. They're not trying to understand how things work here, what people are talking about. They're not trying to seek the truth. A lot of them are not trying that. You can see that in how they articulate themselves. And the point here is that if they really wanted to know the truth, they wouldn't have placed such a high importance, such a high value on whether or not you can give them an answer right away. They wouldn't have felt entitled for you to answer them and prove to them that they are wrong. They wouldn't feel that entitlement if it really was about seeking the truth. So really think about that one. These people are so incredibly into their arguments. They are so wrapped up in this notion that they have to be right, that you can tell by the way they talk. They're not doing it for the truth, but rather they're trying to win. It's a matter of, I want to win, and I want to be right, and I want you to be wrong. It's this competition. It's a race rather than seeking the truth. And these people find it so important to feel that what they think and what they believe in is right. It's so important that they maintain this. A lot of them are people of principle. What I mean is they are so they're so certain in their belief that they won't compromise it in any way. They won't question it in any way. They will be so firm in it, in that belief system, that when they discuss Islam, when they discuss these things, these topics, they will do everything they can to feel that they are right about the way that they've seen things. And you can tell from just the great lengths that they would go. Let's say that, for instance, they would put so many things at stake. They would practically ruin everything around them. The relationships, relationships to people that they've loved their whole life. They are willing to ruin that just to feel that they are right. They're willing to leave a family behind, just to confirm to themselves that I am right, you are wrong. It's this firmness that I've noticed. It's a pattern, and I see it a lot amongst Muslims, and I'm not surprised, because the teachings of Islam supports this way of being. So they only see things in one way. That's how they've been taught, that everything is only in one way, and any other way they have to be intolerant towards, or they feel intolerant towards. Although sometimes you're discussing with people who are very intelligent, they're very sophisticated, and human beings who think a lot on their spare time. Even they have this that they from time to time struggle with, especially when Islam comes into question. So much so that they can see things that's wrong about Islam, and they would still try to defend it just because they can't be wrong about it. I mean, what would they do with themselves if they find out Islam is a lie? Look what I had to do. I mean, it's not a joke. So it's a lot at stake here, especially with all the consequences that Allah talks about that would happen to people who question Islam. So these people are so fixed in their arguments that they, seeing things in one way, that a lot of them are also afraid of this. Everything here, as you notice, it sort of connects. It's related to each other. These people are afraid of failure. They're afraid of being wrong, because being wrong means they failed. They failed in this understanding of something. And to them, that's a very, very shameful thing. A lot of people can feel that they are a bad person if they would get to that conclusion, that they are wrong about how they see something that matters so much to them, and it plays a big role in who they are as people. So no matter what proof I give these people in my channel and everyone else who are like them, who fits this description, no matter what proof I present them, no matter how many videos there are on the internet or how many texts and whatnot you can find to prove that you're wrong, they will not believe because of this mindset. So what do we do? Well, first and foremost, we have to recognize that what is the root of the problem here? The root of the problem is fear. They are afraid. They are afraid, and the fear, it shows, the insecurity, the fears, it manifests itself in pride, it manifests itself in arrogance, in this overly confident, self-righteous behavior that I do everything right, everyone else got it wrong, or when somebody questions something you've done, or, that forces you to reevaluate how you've treated people or what you believe in, that they could get extremely defensive, and they turn the table around, they start attacking you personally. It's all rooted in fear. That's what it's rooted in. It's everything traces to fear, everything negative. And why is this so important to understand? Is because to find God, you must first and foremost understand that God is love. And the Bible explains how love is the opposite to fear. That you have to let go of this fear. You have to let go of all these things that are related to fear in order to strengthen your faith and your relationship with God, because God is love. And if you don't know God in the way that the Bible teaches about God, you do not know love. If you do not know love, you know fear. You're very familiar with fear. And it will control you, and it will direct you and drive you in many things in life. So first and foremost, understand that fear will block your ability to find God. To seek the truth, you have to be willing to be wrong. To be willing to be wrong, you have to fail. You have to be willing to fail. To be wrong about your ideas and such. And to get to that conclusion, you have to be courageous enough, fearless enough to question that which you think is right. Do you see how everything is related? It's really not that foreign. These concepts, we all know them. Excuse me, I just have to drink a little bit of coffee here. By the way, I hope you guys have grabbed a cup for yourselves. I mean, these videos are pretty long. And it's really nice. I mean, we're chatting. It's sort of, we're friends, but at a distance. You know, as you notice, I like to be very personal in how I talk to people. Because, you know, deep down, we're all vulnerable. We're humans. You know, we're not robots. This is how we connect. This is how we relate, is through personal things. So grab a cup and pause the video if you like. Grab a cup so we can continue. Some really good coffee. Yes. So to see the truth, you have to go through all of that entire process, and you know, challenge that fear, go against it. And that's something I was willing to do when I turned to God and I said, you know, God, show me the truth, give me your clarity, your wisdom. You know, I'm ready to receive that which you want me to receive. Even though it's scary, even though I'm afraid, even though I might have to sacrifice everything in my life, give me the truth. When you get to that point, He'll show Himself to you, I believe. With all my heart, I believe that God, when you reach out your hand to Him, He will show Himself to you. And I did that, both physically and, you know, mentally. Reached out my hand. I spoke to Him at night. Late at night, I would whisper to Him. I would cry, I would be in this utter despair. I would, you know, beg Him to be with me. Come out, you know, from your hiding place. I want you to show yourself to me, the real you, and give me the real truth. That's the mindset you have to have. That's the approach you have to have. If you want to get somewhere towards God, you have to have that kind of way of thinking. You gotta let go of the pride, you gotta let go of the ego, you have to be completely humble before the process. You have to accept it as it is. This process is gonna be painful, this process is gonna be difficult. I'm gonna have to face things I don't wanna face, I'm gonna have to go through things, feel things, and be hurt by the people I love the most because of this, but it's worth it. I need to do it for the sake of my soul. So again, to find God, you must be wrong. That's why it's so difficult for these people on my channel to see the truth about God. Why are they so offended, though? Why do they get so incredibly offended and hurt when you attack Islam? They are not Islam. Islam is their belief system. It's what they believe in. Why are they so defensive against that? Why do they plead to me to stop making these videos? Why do they beg me to stop attacking Islam? Why? Very simple. Here's the thing. These people cannot separate the person that they are from what they believe in. They can't separate this. They can't, I don't really know how to explain this. It's really that simple. They are who they are, and Islam has become who they are. So if you attack Islam, they're going to be offended. They cannot really separate this. And so, of course, when I offend Islam, they're going to do personal attacks against me. Of course, when you present them with truth, about their ideology and you challenge it, they're not going to be able to continue on that and question it further because they can't separate who they are from their ideology. Had they been able to do that, then they would have been able to relearn things. To be able to relearn things, to be able to question something you believe in, you have to be able to separate your core, who you are, from that. Or else you're going to feel like you're losing something in the process. An essential part of who you are. And that's a huge roadblock you need to get rid of. So that's, as a whole, that's what I want them to know. I'm going to continue with what I wanted to say in the next video. I'm actually going to cut this one short. I think it's better if I split these up into part 1, part 2, so that we have one topic a video. So, yeah, with this video I just wanted to give that message to them. Give them a better understanding about what I think. These are my theories, and things that I have learned about their psychology, about the way they think, and that in a nutshell explains why it's so difficult for us to convey the truth to them. So you have to understand, there's a reason why you can't just walk up to a person and show them, here, look, that's the truth, and them not being able to immediately respond and be like, of course this is the truth, why didn't I see it all these, I don't know, 30, 40 years that I didn't believe in it. You should have come to me earlier, you should have shown this earlier. You know, the reason they don't have that is because there's so much in between. There's so much in between themselves and the truth. There's this huge fog of things in between there. And what I explained is one aspect of that fog. And I want to explain the other aspects of that fog in the next video that I'm going to upload right after this one. So I hope you guys liked this. I hope you had a good cup of coffee or tea. I don't know if you even had time to have one. If not, save it for the next video. And please continue watching. Please share your comments in the comment section. Like the video, dislike the video, whatever you want to do. And stay tuned because more is coming, I promise. Thank you for watching.